Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Let me fix something before I go live here. I know it was kind of quiet there for a bit, but you know, that's how it is. Give me a second. And away we go. Hi there. Welcome to a Thursday edition of the show. Used to be, I used to say FTG Thursday. I haven't done that in a while. But there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, I gotta say. And one of them seems to be the imminent indictment of Donald Trump on some document issues. A lot of people are talking about that. I know the music's loud, so we'll turn it down a little bit more. And so we're going to talk about that for a little bit, but there's not a whole lot to say other than they're saying it's imminent. So we'll check out one article on that, but also a bunch of stuff. There's a whole bunch of things going on just today. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's happened. So we'll get the update, get you caught up on the most breaking news, and then we'll talk about a few other things, just like we always do. But first, of course, it is time to play the intro. Johnny, would you do that, please? Stop this music and play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Yep, that would be me. And here comes my real face. Maybe stop the music. You already did it. Okay, hi, welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet, and welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel on this Thursday, the 8th of June, 2023. A very short time from now, in weeks measured, it'll be my son's wedding, and I'm getting excited about that. But I have a programming note that has something to do with that. I probably will not be streaming over these next 2 weeks. I'll drop some videos here and there, but I got a lot of stuff to do. Maybe out of the next 2 weeks, I may stream 5 times, and it'll be fairly random. So just watch your notifications, but there's a good chance that I won't be streaming it all next week, just because got to prepare. My mother's going to be with us for a couple weeks. She's going to be here in about a week from now. Got to get a lot of stuff done, and so unfortunately, I don't have time for this. So, hopefully I'll be able to, but I'm planning ahead and making sure that I let you know that it'll be spotty, to say the least, over the next couple weeks. So I appreciate your patience, but the show will be back in full bore after the 24th when my son gets married. So, but that's not really what we're here to talk about today. I just wanted to bring that to you. But also, I wanted to, I've kind of fell off I wouldn't say the wagon. I kind of fell off when it comes to when the Strong Dad June. So I just wanted to, just play this one video for Strong Dad June, because I think this is just fantastic. And I know it's not, oh shoot, I have to set something up here real quick. Got here late again, but today I've got a lot more stuff prepared. But this is definitely a win for some dads, and I just thought it was very cool. And no matter what your situation is, this one just proves that you can be a strong dad. And I don't know if there's music in it, but I don't care. If I get the copyright thing, who cares? Because this is very, very cool. So here we go. Here's our Strong Dad June video of the day. Why is that? I need full screen. Hang on. There we go. This will be better. All right, here we go. Here's Strong Dad June. Win for the dads. This is cool. So there you go. That's our. That little moment there is heartwarming. I just got to say, and I love it. So, and that's it. It doesn't take a whole lot to be a strong dad than just to be there for your kids, and do the things that you can do. And it's amazing what you can do, no matter what your situation. Strong dads find a way to be strong for their kids, and so that's where I'm gonna leave that. So thanks for just indulging me, because I see that every time I see that. I've watched it several times and I kind of get a little verklempt, right? So anyway, let's say good morning to everybody and start the show. First in the chat over on Rumble, Mr. Avocados Diabli. Good morning, sir. Also good morning to Sully209, Jimmy Das Hotep, and that's everybody. That's everybody. Okay, so that's everybody over there. There's other people watching, but you know. On YouTube, also, Avocados Diabli, getting the bell. Also, good morning, Somnable Nation, Trippy Liberty, Rotten Corpse, Tyler F., good morning. Scribe Light, Dog Thrapple. Also, Molly Mags, Those Ain't Real Dude, Tyrannus, Alexandrus, the Invictus, Lich. Also, good morning to Annalyn. Hey, I saw Jess Phillips in the chat, my wonderful son-in-law, and I just wanted to make sure Jess Phillips saw that I'm using the cup. Although it's starting to fade, I'm not going to wash this in the dishwasher anymore because it's fading a little bit. But this is the cup that Jess got me, telling me that I am a slut. Oh, wait, no, that means Salt Lake City, Utah. I knew it was something like that. But anyway, thank you, Jess. And hi, Jess, in the chat. Anna Lynn's also here. Attack Alpaca. Lord Stanhope. Jess Phillips, I already said. Good morning, sir. And that's everybody. So do me a favor. Share the stream, with whoever you want to share it with. Hit the like button at some point during the show. And if you want to sponsor the show, pdognight.live. It still doesn't look like the Streamlabs chatbot is working today. So if you want to join our Discord server, Gunfox61 is so gracious to keep that thing going. And also there'll be times where it says where you can donate to the show. I prefer Streamlabs, but if I know some people like using YouTube for privacy reasons or whatever, or Rumble rants. That's fine too. Streamlabs, they don't take as much of the money that you give to me. More of the money goes to me. So there you go. So let's get into the main topic I got to talk to you about what's happening today. Let me give you some of the stuff that's happening today just trending things happening. Now one, I'll tell you what, the first one I'm going to mention has people losing their freaking minds. And not necessarily in a good way, because, there's a lot of people celebrating this one. Now, yesterday, oh, by the way, did I mention that the Iron Sheik passed away? That was yesterday. And if you ever want to get a good chuckle and also actually feel good about where you live, if you live in the United States, go check out the Iron Sheik's Twitter feed. Oh my gosh, he's funny. He loves his country. He actually is Iranian. In fact, he was his character in professional wrestling was the Iron Sheik, right? But he's great dude, immigrated to the United States and made a great name for himself, and he loves the country. But unfortunately he passed away. Good dude. But that's not the one that's getting people riled up today. Pat Robertson died. If you're not familiar with Pat Robertson, he was a televangelist. Now, this is not Pat Robertson. This is hilarious, though. 3-year Letterman, who's kind of a spoof account. Breaking: Pat Robertson, pastor of the largest church on earth, has passed away. People have different opinions on him, but what can't be denied is that the rest of the world didn't even know about the Bible until he told them about it. Rest in peace, Father Robinson. And he has a picture of Jerry Falwell, which is hilarious. But that's, like I said, it's a spoof cat. Anyway, but people hate Pat Robinson with a passion. I'm figuring out. And in fact, there are several things trending because Pat Robertson died. Now Pat Robertson, obviously extremely polarizing figure back in the 90s, especially when you had the, what do they call it? It was, there was an entity known as the Christian right, the evangelical right. And, honestly, the things that the evangelical right was doing in the 90s is very similar to what the trans activists do now. Not necessarily the LGBTQ activists, although a lot of the LGBTQ activists do it, but particularly the trans activists do. And that's, foisting your religion upon everybody else. And a lot of people had distaste for the religious. Yes, the 700 Club guy. Yes, that's exactly it, Tyre Alexander. So he's a very polarizing figure. And also I don't know. Well, here, let me give you some examples of how people are, I'll just say commemorating the death of Pat Robertson. Now, Keith Boykins is I'm not going to describe Keith Boykins, but here's Keith Boykins, who's kind of an ass. Pat Robertson, the right-wing televangelist and former Republican presidential candidate who espoused racist, sexist, misogynistic, homophobic, AIDS-phobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic bigotry on air for decades, has died. Now, that's quite the obituary. Holy crap. Now, another thing that's trending because of Pat Robertson, and it's all over the place. And one of the things trending because of Pat Robertson is something Clarence Darrow of this. Now, if you're familiar with Clarence Darrow, he was one of the lawyers in the Scopes trial, and he was on the side that lost, the religious freedom side. But a lot of people are bringing out this quote from Clarence Darrow: "I have never killed a man, but I've read many obituaries with great pleasure." Wow, that's a lot of people. Worthless, hate-mongering F-bag Pat Robertson is finally dead. If there's an actual thing as hell, that's where you'd be heading. Okay. Holy smokes. So anyway, rest in peace, Pat Robertson. Lots of people hate Pat Robertson. Now, this is interesting, though. Pat Robertson and Billy Graham bumping into each other in hell. Now, I don't think so. Billy Graham, regardless of the fact that he was a evangelical person, I think Billy Graham was a good man. And I tell you what, whoever's complaining about Billy Graham, a lot of black people like Billy Graham because Billy Graham kind of talked about how the Christian religion is part of Africa because Africans were celebrating Christianity before a lot of the rest of the world. But anyway, good morning, Maddie, by the way. So I don't know about that. And I think Billy Graham really tried to do good in the world. Pat Robertson, I don't hate him, but I just I have a distaste for him myself, and I don't know why. Good morning, Jaeger Pony. My favorite Canadian's in the house, too. Good to see you. So anyway, it's, now there's other people. Now, Mark Levin, Pat Robertson was a remarkable person who made such an enormous difference in the society. I'm deeply sorry to hear of his passing. Rest in peace. So there are people who like Pat Robertson, but most of the people talking about it are absolutely haters. They're throwing a party, and there's Pat Robertson arriving in hell. I mean, this is, lots of people hating Pat Robertson. So no surprise. I get it. Clarence Darrow also trending, like I said. Fun fact, Clarence Darrow was the defense attorney in a Tennessee case regarding the unlawful lesson about evolution in the Scopes trial. They lost, but here's what the defendant had to say at the end of the case, just saying we could do with the new Scopes these days. Now, he said, let's see. Now, this is actually a good quote. Your Honor, I feel that I've been convicted of violating an unjust statute. I will continue in the future, as I have in the past, to oppose this law in any way I can. Any other action would be a violation of my idea of academic freedom, that is, to teach the truth as guaranteed in our Constitution of personal and religious freedom. I think the fine is unjust. And that was the fine for teaching evolution. But anyway. A lot of people using the "I've never killed anyone" quote from Clarence Darrow, though. A lot of people use, because a lot of people hate Pat Robertson. And also Pearly Gates is trending because of Pat Robertson, and most people saying that Pat Robertson will never see the Pearly Gates. Now, the New York Times tweeted, breaking news, Pat Robertson, a minister and broadcaster who turned Christian conservatives into a powerful constituency that helped Republicans capture Congress in 1994, died at 93. Now, that is probably the proper way to do a tweet obituary for Pat Robinson, although I wouldn't say just the Christian conservatives helped in 94. They did, certainly they did, but there was quite a coalition of conservatives and even more moderate Republicans during Clinton's first term that turned Congress back to Republicans for the first time in 40 years. But the Christian coalition certainly was a part of that. I won't say it wasn't. It was a big part of it. Good God. Pat Robertson, the guy who nearly single-handedly pushed the far-right evangelical movement into Republican politics, has gone to his reward. I wonder if he's waiting at the pearly gates for someone to let him in. So anyway, that's why pearly gates is trending. And even Jerry Falwell is trending because he, even though they were different people wanted to include Jerry Falwell in this. Because they, a lot of them too, they were friends with Ronald Reagan, and so, they helped Ronald Reagan win too. This guy, let's see, Pat Robertson is dead. Rest in hell. Rest in peace. Bozo Trend has his awful sentiments on AIDS, gays, etc. helped condemn many to death. Delayed action on researching anti-HIV drugs. He, Ronald Reagan, Jim Baker, etc. were cruel people. Well, Dr. Fauci was one of the people who kind of screwed up the whole AIDS thing too, right? So, but you guys revere him, so let's just not, whatever. But anyway, a lot of people are mentioning Falwell in the same name. So there you go. And both of them said some stupid shit after 9/11. Whatever. And then let's move on to some more happy things about today, though. Today is World Ocean Day. Tall person is not here to give us a day, so I am. And dedicated to what? Okay, let's see. There are many reasons why we should care about our ocean on World Ocean Day and every day. Here are some of the many benefits to our planet. Okay, they have a little graphic here on why the oceans are important. 50% of the air we breathe, the ocean produces over 50% of the world's oxygen and stores 50 times more carbon dioxide than our atmosphere. 76% of all U.S. trade involving some form of marine transportation. Food, the ocean provides much of more than seafood. Ingredients from the sea are found in surprising foods such as peanut butter and what? I can't see what that says. Here, let's look at the graphic a little larger. Here, I'll make so you can see it too. And soy milk. There's sea products in soy milk. Recreation, from fishing, boating to kayak to whale watching. Ocean provides so many unique activities. Climate regulation. 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by oceans. Transport heat from the equator to the poles, regulating our climate and weather patterns. Yeah, because they just go in circles. And economy. 282 billion is the amount the U.S. ocean economy produces in goods and services. Ocean-dependent businesses employ almost 3 million people, and then many medical products come from the ocean, including ingredients that help fight cancer, arthritis, Alzheimer's, and heart disease. So, yeah, fish oil is very important, and ocean fish provide a lot of fish oil. So there you go. Yippee. Share this stream. Well, share this ocean. Good morning, Jay Pylon. There we go. Hotel Nation. Hello, Anna Lynn. Why are you so angry? No, that's not a question for Anna Lynn. That's the person. Why are you so angry? And so on and so forth. So anyway, and then there's a nice, cool little school of dolphins. The ocean is full of beauty, full of life. And it's probably, yeah, okay, that's cool. You can watch it. I'll put the link in the links because I'm not going to go through that. Also, it is National Best Friends Day. Wow, there's Oscar the Grouch and his best friend, the Worm. I better, what, probably shouldn't take a chance on this, because if I scroll on this at all, I'm sure a couple of the best friends are going to have body parts inside other body parts. And I almost can guarantee it. Well, there's a dog and it's cat best friend. That's okay. This one's cute. I'll show you this one. Here's the dog and cat best friends. Everybody would get ready to say, "Oh, oh, isn't that cute?" All right. But again, I'm afraid to scroll on some of these topics. Wait, okay. In fact, I'm just going to scroll, see how long it is before I see a body part that's not supposed to be on YouTube. Oh, pretty good so far. Nobody did it. I was expecting for sure that if I scrolled on this topic, there'd be some, this stuff. Oh, yeah. But there's none. So cool. Good. I'm glad there's none. But I'll still have it in the links if you want to see some cute little pictures of best friends. Now, there is a big bunch of fires in Canada right now. And Justin Trudeau is blaming them on climate change, of course, because everything is, part of climate change. But there's an interesting little factoid or thing that people are concerned about, and it's very wild. Apparently, the term arson is trending on Twitter right now, and the reason it's trending on Twitter is because there's some atmospheric or some kind of satellite that's been videos the atmosphere all the time, and these fires in Canada and Alberta, I believe, is there in Alberta, right? About a dozen fires literally started at the same moment. How and why were they so coordinated? Seems like an obvious tell that this was arson. Now look, I'm going to find one of the better videos. There's a better video that shows this. Please don't show me any body parts. Okay, and you'll see it as they show the satellite photo. Okay, here's one. Here's a good one.
Guys, all of it.
Now, stop that. Hang on. I'm going to enlarge this so you can see it. This is fascinating when you look at it. Now, and I'm not saying this is true. I don't know what's going on here, but here is, this is wild. Here, look, watch this video. Okay, I got it on here, right? Did I go full screen? Yes, I did. All right, here we go. Now let's watch this video for a second, because watch this happen.
All of southeast Quebec just caught on fire, guys.
See
all
how
of it.
they're pulling it back and forth.
Insane.
And showing how all of these fires, see how they have popping up all at the same time? It's East Quebec, I guess.
The whole thing.
All of them at the same time.
All at once. All of southeast Quebec.
Isn't that weird? And there's lots of people showing versions of that video. So here's what it is. The Canadian wildfires were set by climate activists on behalf of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau pushing this climate change agenda. Canada needs to investigate the Quebec fires for arson. New York and the entire East Coast needs to demand that. Because right now, all the smoke from these fires, if you're on the East Coast, you're probably choking on that shit right now. And it doesn't make anybody happy. So let's see. Canadian wildfires police in Nova Scotia say some fires deliberately set. Investigations into the 3 fires have determined each of them to be an act of arson. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't even see this article yet. Let's open this one up. The Western Standard. Anyone know is there a political bend to the Western Standard? I'm not sure. I'm sure it's probably more conservative, but just because Western Canada is more that way. So, okay, this is, lighting a fire in Nova Scotia could cost you big time lighting a fire in Nova Scotia could cost you big time. Where's the rest of the article? Where's the rest? Here it is. Nope, that's just I guess that was just a picture with one line. Investigations into 3 fires have determined each of them would be an act of arson. Let's go back to the topic here. So here's Justin Trudeau on the fires, though, and I'll put a dedicated tweet for him out here too, because we are hundreds of American firefighters have recently arrived in Canada, and more are on the way. On the phone today, I spoke with POTUS Biden about his critical support, and I thanked him for all the help the Americans are providing as we continue to fight these devastating wildfires. Now, here's the kicker. We are seeing more and more of these fires because of climate change. These fires are affecting everyday routines, lives, and livelihoods, and our air quality. We'll keep working here at home with partners around the world to tackle climate change and address its impact. Well, I got an idea. Maybe it'd be a good idea to tackle the arsonists before they start the fires, and then you wouldn't have so many fires in Canada that start all at the same time. I don't know. Anybody? Maybe there's. Here's what it could be. Okay, here's what it could be. Maybe there's a satellite up in this atmosphere, well, beyond the atmosphere, right? Because the satellites go about outside of the atmosphere. And just as those, they all had like a little, what are those? You know, like the ball they have for New Year's Eve that they drop in Times Square. It has all those crystal sections, right? Well, maybe there was one of those on one of the satellites that has all these little balls, but they're all pointing down so that when the sun goes through them, it's like using a magnifying glass to kill ants, right? And so just as the satellite passed, all this crystal ball, all the little satellite, light beams from the whatchamacallits, started all those fires at the same time in Canada. Right? Hello, King Lopez. What's up? How you doing? Welcome to the show. P-Dog Q is a psyop. Yeah, probably. I'm sure. People are being distracted from what's really happening. The New World Order is being initialized. Well, you may certainly be right. So anyway, of course, to Justin Trudeau, this is a... Did I use the same thing here? Hang on. Let me... All right. See, that's Justin Trudeau. So anyway, looks like arson. Here you go. You can go to satellite data and use their infrared sensor records to see when and where the fire started. Dozens of spontaneous fires started in multiple locations, some hundreds of miles apart, around the same time. Can't be natural or an accident organized soon. Well, unless it's one of those satellites with the big, ball that drops in Times Square. God used a magnifying glass to blast us. Yeah, sure. Yes. Okay. All right. I need some more creative ways to determine how these fires started. I see Disco Ball of Death. Thank you. Disco Ball of Death. Thank you, Just Phillips. Archimedes heat ray. Good. Why not just blame death rays? That could be. God used a magnifying glass to blast us. Jewish space lasers. Oh, that might be it. Where is MTG when you need her? Holy smokes, wood has always burned. It's one of the main qualities, certainly. So anyway, if you can think of any more creative ways that these fires could have started all at the same time, I would say the entire school of Gryffindor accidentally did the wrong spell with their little wands, and poof, all the fires started in Canada, because Gryffindor sucks, right? All right. Nazi sun reflector, Gijira, cigarette butt out of car windows, but it would have to be coordinated cigarette butts, right? Well, it is Pride Month, and they do flame. Very good. Okay. All right. Oh, butts. Yeah, I'm sure you meant cigarette butts, not cigarette butter, because, cigarette butter? That'd be kind of gross. Is that like onion butter or garlic butter? Cigarette butter? Ugh, nasty. Anyway. All right. So let's move on to some real news today, because that's all the. Oh, did I miss one? Oh, Black Americans is trending. Oh, because so there's a lot of people are starting to talk about Juneteenth. If you're not familiar with Juneteenth, it is a celebration of Black Americans who are descendants of slaves, because after the Civil War ended. A bunch of Union troops were going into Texas after the Emancipation Proclamation, and it was June, I believe, 1865, where the slaves in Texas weren't yet informed that the slaves had been the slaves had been freed, that they had an Emancipation Proclamation. So these Union soldiers went into Texas, and basically this is a celebration of the fact that the last slaves that were emancipated, right? And so it's been a celebration in Texas and Oklahoma and some Southwest states for a very long time. Over the last couple of years, we've kind of added it to our entire American lexicon. Well, there's a big argument in the Black community about who can and should celebrate Juneteenth. And personally, I would think if we're going to celebrate Juneteenth, I think it should be, it's not just for black people. It's not just, it's a, one of the great things, about this country and the West is the fact that we are some of the first countries in the world to outlaw slavery. And so if we're going to celebrate Juneteenth, then they've made it, I think they've kind of made it a pseudo national holiday now, right? But I think you should, it's an American celebration, not just for black people, although black people probably celebrate it more because many of us are the descendants of slaves, right? So unfortunately though, on black Twitter, in the black community, there's a raging debate about whether or not black people in this country who are not descendants of slaves, okay? So, meaning African immigrants or immigrants from, say, the Caribbean or other places, whether or not they can celebrate Juneteenth. I think it's a stupid question. If you're an American, and look, remember, so especially when it comes to the immigrants, say from the Caribbean, because a lot of Caribbean natives live in like the coast, New York especially, people who would celebrate Juneteenth, but they're from the Caribbean. Those places also had slavery. You know, there were slaves there too. And so the idea that they shouldn't be, you know, making this a holiday for everybody is just weird to me. But I know that when I grew up in Omaha, I mean, not many places, say east of maybe east of Texas, and although in Omaha there was a Juneteenth celebration every year when I was a kid, and I didn't really necessarily understand what it meant because no one explained what it was. It was Juneteenth, and it was over in North Omaha, the Black Juneteenth celebration that black people celebrated. I didn't know why until I was much older. But this debate within Black America and immigrant Black Americans or Africans or Caribbean people I think it's silly, but it's raging on Twitter right now. So that's trending right now. Black American is trending because of Juneteenth. And also the idea of foundational Black Americans, Tariq Nasheed and his grift, so to speak, because that's the reparation debate comes in, because they would think that only foundational Black Americans, aka descendants of slaves, should receive reparations. Which, if I agreed with the idea of reparations, I could see why that would be a point, but I think unfortunately that opportunity is missed. And also, I don't know how you can say, okay, this is probably dangerous for me to say, because of being a black man, not necessarily an advocate of reparations, but I think that the idea that, okay, we've lost generational wealth because of the lack of reparations. I'm curious how many people there are in this country who may have had wealth. Someone in their family in the past may have had wealth, but lost it and never would have passed it down anyway. I mean, that's probably a majority of the people who traveled west into the country and moved on and whatever. Even the people, because I know, for example, my wife's family, if you go trace back her heritage, one of her relatives that was in the East was very wealthy, right? But he was a loyalist and got kicked out of the country. Now, all his property that was left in the United States was confiscated from him. And he ended up living in Canada, up in Nova Scotia. There's a town named after him, but because the king replenished all his wealth there. But none of his wealth in the United States was passed down to any of his ancestors. There are plenty of people who came out and, went out for the gold rush. They found a little bit of gold, right? And they spent it all, and they died broke. there's no generational wealth in those people. Not every family has been successful generation after generation after generation. So it's just weird. I don't know. That's my thing. But I will give you one funny one, and I don't know if you're familiar with Bishop Talbot Swan. Now he's a very and Dubes is back on Twitter. Holy shit! I did not know that President Dubes is back on Twitter. Well, this is funny. Anyway, so Bishop Talbot Swan. Oh no! What happened to it? I hate that when it does that. Let me scroll down and see if I can find this tweet from Dubes. Here it is. Okay, so here it is. Talbot Swan put this tweet out. Jews, you get a national strategy against anti-Semitism. Asians, you get a hate crime bill. LGBTQ, you get a hate crime executive order. Ukrainians, you get $70 billion. Israel, you get $4 billion a year. Black people, you get a Juneteenth concert. The White House announces its first ever Juneteenth concert. Now, I actually do find that, I think that's pretty funny, particularly the Ukraine part, okay? But I'm like I said, I'm not a fan. Dubes said you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. Black American voters get the least, worst policies and aid because our political representatives are either incompetent, corrupt, or both. We let men like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson speak for us. Damn, Dubes! Every time you are spot on. You got to follow President Dubes, Hotep Dubes. He was gone from Twitter for a long time because he didn't necessarily follow the agenda, so to speak. So anyway, oh, good Lord. Now, this is interesting, too. By the way, Juneteenth also has a flag. I don't think you knew this. I didn't know this either until today. This is the first time I knew that Juneteenth had a flag. So apparently, the red, the black, and the green is not a flag about Juneteenth. That's basically, it's a Pan-African flag, right? But this, I don't know what this flag is. This is mostly this one in the middle here on the right is supposed to be the official Juneteenth flag. And then, of course, the American flag is definitely a related flag. Heroic Nico, how you doing? Did you know Ukraine is being built up as Israel 2.0? Is it? Good Lord, we don't need that. I mean, nothing wrong with Israel. I don't have a problem with Israel. I just don't understand why we still give Israel billions. But I do understand, at least in my opinion, okay, there's one tiny little sliver of land in the Middle East that is Israel. And then there's all these countries around it that hate Israel. And they've been the most resilient population ever. And I don't understand foreign aid at all these days. But I think Israel could make it on its own. But I don't know the politics. Weird, they say that they're some people say, oh, yeah, they are so cruel to the Palestinians. Well, maybe the Palestinians would stop throwing rockets into the cities of Israel. There wouldn't be retaliation. Hello, Chosen One. How you doing? All right, let's get into it. Holy smokes, I've spent a lot of time on all this stuff. Let's move on. So there's apparently the main topic today is the imminent rumors. The rumors of imminent Trump indictment over the documents at Mar-a-Lago. Okay, and so I brought up this article from Legal Insurrection first because this is one of my favorite go-to spots. If I can fit it on the page, I guess that works. Last March, and this is William Jacobson, who's a lawyer who's part of the main team at Legal Insurrection, says last March I cautioned that the Alvin Bragg case was a sideshow, which it certainly is. It's a bullshit sideshow. And that the Mar-a-Lago case was Trump's biggest risk, which it certainly is. Good morning, GDSOB, by the way. The independent newspaper in Britain has published a story asserting that Donald Trump will be indicted any day by a Florida grand jury with regard to possession and transmittal of national defense information and obstruction of justice. Now, the possession one, I get. Hello, did I say hi to Chosen One? How you doing? I did. Okay. The possession, that didn't surprise, but transmittal? The transmittal of national defense information and obstructions of justice. Now, I have some words about that, but I'll come to him later because Ed Krasenstein, one of my favorite guys, also tweeted about this, and I will go through my reply to him in a minute. Yes, the walls are closing in. Okay, here it is. As described in the story, possession of classified information will not be the basis for the indictment, but rather it is the conduct with regard to those documents. Now, I remember a similar case back on, 7 years ago, that certain FBI guy said that, we would never try a case like this, just whatever, yes, she had some, classified and top secret documents, and she destroyed evidence, and they destroyed digital and physical evidence, but, no one would ever try this case. Well, now, isn't it strange what a whole new day brings you? The use of Section 793, which does not make reference to classified information, is understood to be a strategic decision by prosecutors that has been made to short-circuit Mr. Trump's ability to claim that he used his authority as president to declassify documents when he removed from the White House and kept at his Palm Beach, Florida property long after his term expired on January 20th, 2021. That section of U.S. criminal law is written in a way that could encompass Mr. Trump's conduct, even if he was authorized to possess the information as president, because it states that anyone who, quote, lawfully having possession of, access to, or control over, or being entrusted with any document relating to the national defense, quote, and, quote, willfully communicates, delivers, transmits, or causes to be communicated, delivered, or transmitted, or attempts to communicate, deliver, or transmit, or cause to be communicated, delivered, or transmitted the same to any person not entitled to receive it, or willfully retains the same and fails to deliver it on demand to the officer or employee of the United States entitled to it to receive it, can be punished by as many as 10 years in prison. So they're using a little loophole here. And now, good question, Advocates Diabli. Do they have proof he tried to communicate or transmit it? That's the rub. That's the rub. We'll find this out. But anyway, if there's no charge based on possession of classified documents, that takes away a lot of the what about Biden defenses. And you know what? Look, I said when all of a sudden they were raiding Biden's house and all of a sudden Mike Pence was turning in documents, blah, 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 right? I said at the time, that's a setup. That means, one, they're getting out ahead of the Trump stuff. Two, it's not about the possession. And I couldn't figure out what they were going to do with it. Because I don't know the legal stuff as well as some other people do. But anyway, the article also says that former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows testified as a part of a deal giving him limited immunity. Oh, goodness gracious. Mark Meadows, former Chief of Staff. A source who was briefed on the agreement claimed that the alleged agreement will involve the ex-chief of staff entering pleas of guilty to unspecified federal crimes, but an attorney for Mr. Meadows, George Terwilliger, denied that to the Independent. Mr. Terwilliger said that the idea that his client would enter any guilty pleas is complete bullshit. Okay, they didn't write it out, but that's what it says, but did not address a matter of immunity in a brief telephone conversation with this reporter. It is not yet known whether the testimony or charges in question relate to the documents probe or a separate investigation into January 6th attack on the Capitol. Both investigations are being overseen by a Department of Justice special prosecutor, Jack Smith, and he's the one being lionized by the Democrats and the left right now. According to ABC News, Mr. Meadows has given evidence in both the documents matter and the January 6th investigation. Oh, you mean the That's not very good. What happened? Let's try this. Insurrection? Insurrection. What happened to my... Okay, forget it. Anyway, so now it is the Independent. And the Independent is a reliably Democrat-friendly, left-wing friendly outlet, okay? It's basically I think they're owned by the New York Times, but they're technically a European publication. Now, we don't know the legitimacy of the story, but it is consistent with other reports that a federal grand jury was considering charges in Florida, which was the location of the alleged conduct. Now, the other part of this too, and I'll bring this up later, but why would they use a grand jury instead of indict Donald Trump if they had evidence? Because it's easier and gives you plausible deniability to take it to a grand jury for the indictment rather than just doing the indictment. If the Justice Department thought they had the goods and wouldn't be accused of witch hunt, then they would just charge Trump. But they want to pretend that this isn't a political persecution. Okay, so they take it to a grand jury, and oh yes, the people. Oh well, it wasn't the Justice Department who said to indict him; it was the grand jury. And so, with the grand jury, it's the grand jury's fault that the walls are closing in. So anyway, last March, he wrote about this case that it is riskier for Trump, which I will put a link to in the links today. It's riskier for Trump, and it's about whether he directed his lawyers to lie to the feds, obstructing justice. If proven, that's a simple legal theory of criminal liability, unlike the attenuated and legally stretched theories in other cases. Again, no one will be surprised if he's indicted with regard to Mar-a-Lago. The question is, what specific factual allegations in the indictment will be, whether there is anything new, and what the charges are. It will be interesting to see if there is a rally around effect like there was with the Bragg indictment. A lot of that will depend on what is in the indictment. So this is someone named Jeff Human. Says, until I see receipts, it's all fake news to me. This one I find particularly hard to believe, that Meadows has an immunity deal and is turning on Trump. Nah, don't buy it. I wonder if all these stories are the same source. Parlatore, the lawyer who recently left something, I don't know, I'm not going to read the whole tweet. A source who was briefed on the agreement claimed that the alleged agreement will involve the ex-chief of staff entering pleas of guilty to unspecified federal crimes, but an attorney for Meadows, blah, blah, blah. That's already what they read in the article. So anyway, that is the update, and that's why the walls are closing in still on President Trump. Let's see. Today's episode has been brought to you by BoomerTech TM. Either it works or it don't. Hell, what do you want from me? I don't know what you're talking about. Did I do something goofy there? Anyway. Now, on this note, of course, our favorite person to laugh at on the internet, Ed Krasenstein, whatever. He's one of the ambiguously heterosexual twin brothers on the internet who tweet a lot, put out this tweet, and you know how much I love to talk about Ed Krasenstein. Breaking: President Biden was, oh wait, this is the Pride event one. That's the wrong one. Hang on. Yeah, see, BoomerTech on display. BoomerTech on display. Let me go to the right one here. Where the hell is that? I know I replied to this moron. Here's how he put it out, though. See, let's see. There it is. Aha! I found it. It just takes a long time to get there. Okay, copy. And paste. There we go. All right. Ed Krasenstein, I know you're dying to hear from Ed Krasenstein. I just know it. I know you're dying to hear from Ed Krasenstein. Here we go. I'll do it in Ed Krasenstein's voice. More breaking news. Here's a recap of the latest news surrounding Jack Smith's investigation and possible indictment of Trump. Smith reportedly is set to ask a grand jury to indict Trump in D.C. for violating the Espionage Act and obstruction. Mark Meadows reportedly has flipped and is cooperating with investigators in exchange for limited immunity. Former Trump advisor Steve Bannon has been subpoenaed in the January 6th investigation. Jack Smith has multiple grand juries impaneled in Washington, D.C. and Florida. If Trump is convicted of espionage, what will our future generations think of all those who supported him after his conviction? Remember, people still supported the Confederates after they lost the war. Some people still support Hitler after he killed millions of people. Will people still support Trump, and how will they be viewed? Hello, Next Gen Troll. Motherfucker, did you just compare Donald Trump to the Confederacy and Hitler? Oh my God. And then he puts this stupid picture of Steve Bannon up here. He likes to put people looking their worst. So so in the world of just wow, I did have an answer for that. And so I'll just, because I tend to answer Ed in a lengthy manner sometimes. Here's my thoughts on that, and I'll just have to read them because I can't remember exactly what I wrote. I said, first of all, did you just compare Trump to? Holy shit! Are those the new talking points? Hitler and the Confederacy? You're getting way over your skis, Ed. The only reason to have grand juries impaneled in this case is so to give the DOJ plausible deniability of this being a witch hunt. They have always planned to bring charges, and certainly any grand jury in D.C. is guaranteed to indict. Possibly Florida too, as a grand jury doesn't have the same discretion not to indict as, say, James Comey, as he claimed in the case of Hillary, no one is above the law, Clinton. Now, very parallel circumstances, except the latter was proven classified, top secret, and special access documents that she had no authority to declassify or store in an insecure place, and destruction of both digital and physical evidence under subpoena, and with lesser security clearance than a president or ex-president. You love whatabouts, Ed, so I thought I'd throw you one. Of course, D.C. grand juries have a very different vibe when your name is Clinton, and Comey himself said it was at his discretion that no reasonable person would consider recommending prosecution. Well, of course, because, well, let me just... What was it? Oh, because, you just worry about those mysterious circumstances that just happen whenever the name Clinton comes up. So anyway, there's so much more, like how the government would have to prove documents were classified to a trial jury, exposing their contents, how the Espionage Act would apply to a president and former president, whether there's anywhere in the country Trump could get a fair, unbiased jury. Okay, some places it'd be unbiased the one way, and some place would be unbiased the other way, or lack thereof, so to speak. And you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. That little thing. Plus, the credibility of the FBI DOJ career staff is on the line, as surely some of the haul they brought in from Mar-a-Lago was the declassified Crossfire hurricane investigation information. Remember that little ditty? Yeah, I trust the government when it comes to stuff like this. Just look at that Crossfire hurricane when they got the warrants on the FISA warrants and all that shit. So they just, this is going to be fascinating. Hi, Jonathan Peterson. So anyway, it's probably a lock that Jack Smith will find a way to indict Trump. But there's so many hurdles. There's so many constitutional issues. There's so many things that these people are just jumping for joy that Trump might be indicted. Okay. Good luck with that. So there we go. Let's see. I'm going to skip Ed's other bullshit. He was talking about, I can't skip this. It's Pride Month too. It's not just Strong Dad June, it is also Pride Month. So here's the latest on Pride Month. Breaking, President Biden will be appointing an anti-book ban coordinator as part of his new strategy to protect the LGBTQ community. We're going to have an anti-book ban coordinator who was going to want to push the books that have porn and shit like that in the elementary schools. Because, a lot of these schools, they're not banning books. They're just removing certain books from places maybe that are age inappropriate. But they just call it a book ban because it sounds a lot worse. The White House will hold the largest ever Pride event In history on the South Lawn this evening, I forgot who I was talking like. The anti-book ban coordinator, who has not yet been named, will advise school districts on the legality of banning books. Holy shit. You know what? School districts can determine on whether or not a book is in their library or in their curriculum. What do you mean the legality of banning books? What the fuck are you talking about? School districts have 100% autonomy on what books are in their schools. And certainly state school boards, the federal government has no say whatsoever. If the school district wants to have nothing but Winnie the Pooh books in their library, that's their fucking prerogative. And I don't know what the fuck you're talking about here, Ed. And Biden, too. Now, they're complaining because this comes after over 870 different books have been banned from school libraries and curriculums this year. You're not banning it from curriculum, you remove it. It doesn't mean you're banning the book from existence. You can I bet you can get every one of those 870 books on Amazon in whatever state you're talking about. I bet any parent who wanted to buy one of those books could buy it right now at, well, I was going to say Barnes & Noble, but aren't they dead? I don't know. Anyway, you can find these books. They're probably in the public library. They're just not in the school curriculum. Look, you know what they also banned in schools? They banned, now this would really piss me off. They banned the 1957 biology textbook. They banned it. How could they ban a book? I don't even know how you do it. Oh my gosh. They banned a biology textbook. What is from 1957? You learn a lot of new stuff. I don't care. Why did they ban that book? That's awful. They banned a book. That's how stupid this argument is. Anyway, greater than, he's certainly very concerned about LGBTQ stuff. Now, I know he's married and both his brother and he are both married and they have kids or whatever, but they are ambiguously heterosexual. Anyway, greater than 25% of the books banned in schools have LGBTQ themes or characters. Hey, you know what else? You know what other book is banned? To Kill a Mockingbird was banned in California. Removed from school curriculums in California, because you can still buy it on Amazon. You can still probably find it in a bookstore. You can find it in a used bookstore, but it's banned. According to Ed, they banned the book. More than 70 bills that the Human Rights Campaign. Now remember, the Human Rights Campaign is an activist organization. Hi, Emmanuel Presley. Considers anti-LGBTQ were passed during legislative session, which is twice as many as last year. Yeah. Yes, they did many legislatures, and there are many bills that are against the maiming of children or using things that probably are experimental medical procedures. Okay. Just like they banned doing what they call ice pick lobotomies was the kind of the term for it. They stopped doing ice pick lobotomies a while back too. Now that's certainly a medical treatment that was recommended to parents and whatever, and they did them for a long time. And then they realized, oh, just fucking these kids up really bad. Well, I think you're going to find out that these procedures that are also are causing permanent damage to human bodies probably aren't the good idea. Probably not the best way to deal with gender dysphoria. Maybe, just maybe, how about just doing some counseling or just letting puberty do its job? Because a lot of, especially girls, have gender dysphoria as they start going through puberty. They're like uncomfortable with their bodies and this and that. And they're like, oh, I don't like this and that. And then they grow out of it because they're like, oh, fuck, that was just me turning into a woman. So shut the fuck up with this shit and stop doing permanent damage to human bodies. Okay, enough about that. Moving on. Now, I basically ranted and raved during this whole show about a lot of stuff. So let power drill lobotomies always work better anyways. Yes, they definitely do. All right, let's see. What did I miss? What am I not going to get to? Oh, did you hear that the Southern Poverty Law Center has labeled the group Moms for Liberty? You know, the school, the women who want to have complaints about what the schools are teaching the moms. You know, the Moms for Liberty. Remember, I had Tiffany on here on the show one day. Well, they've labeled Moms for Liberty a hate group, and they're putting maps of all these chapters of Mom for Liberties, labeling Moms for Liberty as a hate group because they don't believe that you should be doing medical interventions on children that are permanent, that can permanently damage their physiology. And so, but now apparently one of the SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center researchers who labeled Mom for Liberty hate group, has met with Biden national security officials. Now, what does that mean? The author of the Southern Poverty Law Center report that labels parental rights organizations as extremist hate groups met earlier this year with Biden National Security Council officials, according to White House records. Susan Cork, the director of SPLC's intelligence project, this week added Moms for Liberty, Parents Defending Education, and other parents' organizations on its hate map, alongside neo-Nazis, the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah. Cork visited the White House on January 6, 2023. Oh, that's very symbolic. And met with the National Security Council Counterterrorism Director John Pecorelli, according to White House visitor logs reviewed by Washington Free Beacon. Cork, a former State Department official, was accompanied by researchers from the American University who work with the Southern Poverty Law Center. Now, the Southern Poverty Law Center and now the ADL, they're just basically they're as bad at grift groups or whatever, and they are very they're agenda oriented, so much so that they've lost their meaning. Southern Poverty Law Center used to be a very venerated civil rights group, but it really seems like they've kind of lost their way in some ways. They're just basically coordinated to attack anything that doesn't benefit Democrats. Now, along that line, there's also an article in the Federalist. After the SPLC quietly admits subjectivity, corporate media amplifies baseless smears against parents. So, the Southern Poverty Law Center continued its smear campaign against conservative groups this week when it named 12 parents' rights organizations, including the incredibly effective Moms for Liberty, as anti-government extremist groups in its 2022 Hate and Extremism report. Over the last 2 years, the Biden administration, with the help of the National School Board Association, used manufactured reasoning to target concerned parents as potential terrorists. For his participation in the intimidation campaign, Biden Attorney General Merrick Garland was hauled in front of Congress, where he not only denied that the Department of Justice was weaponized against Americans for political reasons, but also indicated he would keep targeting parents. Now, the SPLC continued the Biden regime's mission by sullying the dozens of grassroots organizations as, quote, reactionary anti-student inclusion, end quote, organizations that promote, quote, anti-LGBTQ racist. Wait, it is. Uh-oh, I lost it. This thing moved around.
That's racist!
And nationalist themes. Groups like Mom for Liberty were a new battlefront versus inclusivity in schools, but are rooted in age-old white supremacy. The SPLC Intelligence Project Director Sandy Cork tweeted on Tuesday. Fuck her. Anyway, name-calling parents who want to be a part of their child's education as hate group or bigoted just further exposes what this battle is about. Who fundamentally gets to decide what is taught in our schools? Or, you know, whose kids are they? That's the question. So anyway, Tom Cotton thinks the SPLC should lose its tax-exempt status because of their bias. And also Republican Senators Ted Cruz and J.D. Vance similarly warned that the SPLC is a hateful, bigoted, despicable organization whose pronouncements must be met with scorn. And this is the hate map where they claim that these groups are anti-government hate groups. So anyway, this goes on. Meanwhile, the report received nothing but praise from corporate media outlets like MSNBC, which reiterated SPLC's hate talking points and promoted the organization's recent smears of parents groups as extremely comprehensive, well-written, and well-packaged. Well, of course, they're going to like that at MSNBC. So, and then also, the thing is, though, the SPLC is really a part of the... they're part of the team, so to speak. They've found a friend in corporate media complex, but its reputation precedes it. And they've long been known for tarnishing organizations with Christian missions or conservative ties as hate groups. So anyway, this is a good article. You can read it in full, but I just want to bring that to bear. Pritzker, Illinois Governor Pritzker. He's He's a healthy looking fellow. They're forcing lawsuits against signs of law, forcing lawsuits against the state to be filed in Cook County and Sangamon County. Now, here's what they've done. He signed a measure into law forcing people, if they're going to file a lawsuit against the state, they must do it in Cook County, basically Chicagoland area, or Sangamon County. Cook County is home to Chicago. Sangamon County is home to Springfield. Now, see where this is going? If you want to challenge executive orders or state laws, you must file them in the county housing the governor or the most corrupt county in the country housing the most corrupt city in the country. Now, is that fascist? A little bit? Don't stand in Pritzker's way or his cronies. So here's the House bill that, notwithstanding, okay, it just tells you that's what they're doing. I'm not going to read the bill. The measure comes after the people had the nerve to challenge Pritzker's dictator moves in 2020 during COVID. The lockdowns, vaccine mandates, closures, keeping kids out of school, school rules, etc. Then the state eliminated cash bail, leading to lawsuits. The Democrat-led government is also trying to ban many types of guns, resulting in more lawsuits. Well, of course, the Democrats are trying to spin it in any way other than to shield the corrupt government from depriving Illinoisans from their rights. So here's what the Chicago Tribune says. The Democratic-controlled state legislature passed a bill along party lines last month. Democrats who supported the legislation said it was necessary to prevent people with a grievance against the state from selecting the county in which to file a lawsuit based on where they think they can get a favorable ruling. So what did they do? They passed a law to make sure that all those lawsuits get heard in counties that give them a favorable ruling. Supporters also said the measure will conserve resources for the Attorney General's office, which represents the state in courts. Sangamon County is home to the state capital, Springfield, while Chicago in Cook County is the second base of state government. So basically, they've ended county shopping by county shopping. Isn't that brilliant? Okay, moving on. Tucker Carlson has been accused of a breach of contract by Fox News. This will be interesting because. So Carlson did a show. We talked about it yesterday. Did a show on Twitter, right? And Fox says he's breaching contract. Except there's a little problem. Carlson's not being paid by anybody. How would he be breaching his contract? Fox News informed Tucker Carlson's lawyers last night that he breached his contract with the network when he launched his own Twitter show on Tuesday. Carlson lawyers argue Carlson has the right to free speech on social media. Yeah, he just made a monologue on social media. He's not getting paid by anybody. Now, here's the thing. Breach contract. What would they have to what would happen here? Because right now, Fox technically did not fire Tucker Carlson. He's still being paid by Fox. They just took a show from him. So are they saying that they're no longer liable to pay out his $20 million contract? And do you think Tucker gives a shit? Is what I'm wondering. So he posted this 10-minute monologue on Twitter, to which Fox says Fox defends its very existence on the freedom of speech grounds. Now they want to take Tucker. Oh, this is somebody else saying this. Now they want to take Tucker Carlson's right to speak freely away from him because he took to social media to share his thoughts on current events, Carlson's lawyer Brian Friedman told Axios. And then, he racked up, at the time it was still 90 million Twitter views in 24 hours and immediately made Carlson a trending topic. But it's interesting because he's not doing it on behalf of another outlet. He just said some shit on the internet. Are they saying that he no longer can say shit on the internet? This will become interesting. I don't think he's being compensated for it. Certainly not yet. Anyway. New York Post, Washington throws a pity party for federal censors finally being investigated. So the democracy died in darkness is the pious masthead motto of the Washington Post, ostentatiously adopted in the Trump era. But in the Biden era, the paper sees censorship as the salvation of self-government. Now, what is it they're doing? So they're Washington Post readers were invited Tuesday to a 1,700-word pity party for federal censorship contractors. Federal agencies have launched crusades in recent years to suppress disinformation on the internet. They mostly rely on censorship by surrogate because the First Amendment freedom of speech provisions make it illegally dicey to directly muzzle Americans. But they tried to do it anyway. They told Twitter to do it. So, in fearing legit trouble from the feds if they don't cooperate, social media companies kowtowed to the surrogates. Now, during the 2020 election season, contractors composing the Election Integrity Project filed endless objections to Americans' online posts and social media firms. Two more social media firms. The project spurred crackdowns that affected millions of individual Facebook posts, YouTube videos, TikToks, and tweets thanks to huge regulatory pressure from government, according to the State Department official Mike Benz. But it wasn't censorship. It was simply content removals, according to the Washington Post. So anyway, there's a big fight, and now they're trying to create some laws that would require social media companies to use the big conglomerate news organizations as their sources, and to compensate the news organizations whenever people reference those news organizations on social media. It's a money grab, and it's some way they're trying to create laws to prop up the media that the government likes. Not cool. So we'll have an update of that sometime down the road. Finally, we're going to finish this up, just the headlines. Tom Cotton, JCPA media cartel bill will sideline conservative news. This is the bill I'm talking about. The Senate Judiciary Committee prepares once again to resurrect the Journalism Competition and Preservation Act, a bill that will create a cartel of legacy media companies empowered to collude with Silicon Valley. And that's the bill I'm talking about, where they're trying to make it so that Silicon Valley has to pay if people talk about the news from other sources. It's insidious as fuck. You know, if I went to the barbershop and talked about an article in the Washington Post, would the barbershop, the owner, have to pay the Washington Post for me talking about it? This is a go fuck yourself moment. On Daily Caller, CNN, we talked about Chris Licht being fired. Well, apparently a bunch of CNN executives also departed the network just hours after Licht did. Two top communication leaders are leaving the network just hours after it was announced that CEO Chris Licht was fired, according to CNN's Oliver Darcy. The top two leaders of CNN's communication department, Chris Cariati Kelly and Matt Dornick, as well as Licht's chief of staff, Devin Kay, will also depart the company. I'm told, Darcy tweeted. Yeah, I would just tell him. I'm sure this. Well, look, CNN is like, what's a good analogy? The Titanic. It's hit many icebergs over the last couple of years, mainly the Trump one, and now they're just going down. So there you go. James Comer canceled contempt vote after the FBI caves on alleged Biden bribery doc. 11 hours before the House Oversight Committee would assemble a vote holding FBI Director Wray in contempt of Congress, the FBI agreed to permit members of the Oversight Committee to review an unclassified informant file that allegedly links President Joe Biden to a $5 million bribery scheme. So, are we going to see some action on this document? So they threatened to hold Wray in contempt. So they said, "Oh no, well, we'll give you the document. We'll let your committee see it." I don't know if this is as exciting as it might sound. Like they have this is kind of a walls are closing in on Biden. I'll believe it when they produce it. Although, does anyone not believe that Joe Biden has benefited him and his family with millions of dollars from foreign governments in his 50 years in the United States government? Yeah, it's probably likely. Anyway, next. Also, here Comer says the FBI doc alleges a business person from Ukraine sent a substantial bribe to Vice President Biden. Well, again, I need to see the proof, but that's the $5 million bribe scheme. It happens to be from Ukraine. Wow, we're sending a lot of money to Ukraine. I wonder how that works. And then finally, more Biden corruptus news. Arkansas judge orders Hunter Biden back in court, says burden is on him to avoid jail time. Apparently, this has something to do with his love child, or lack thereof, lack of love child with the exotic dancer from Arkansas. He's been ordered to appear in an Arkansas court next month to face questions about his financial status and defend himself against contempt allegations that could carry a penalty of up to 6 months in jail. This is a state court, so his dad can't pardon him. The money order from Arkansas Circuit Court Judge Holly Meyer came weeks after London Alexis Roberts, the mother of Biden's 4-year-old daughter, asked the court to hold Biden in both civil and criminal contempt for failing to turn over requested financial information. Biden has been fighting, this is Hunter, has been fighting to reduce his $20,000 per month child support payments, which he says he can no longer afford. Now, I'm still going to say the same thing about a $20,000 a month child support payment. I was able to raise, Lady Boomer and I give Lady Boomer as more credit than me. We were able to raise our 2 children on less than $20,000 a month. I'm just saying. I doubt if London Alexis Roberts is spending that $20,000 a month just on her child, their love child, their lack of love child, excuse me. So I can understand why he might be saying, but why maybe that's a little excessive, especially living in Arkansas. Arkansas is a pretty low cost of living place to live. On the other hand, if Hunter Biden's been hiding money and stuff, yeah, I can see why he might be in contempt of court, but I still believe the $20,000 per month child support, in the immortal words of, who said this? Who said this? It was, actually, this was, what's the guy who just died? In the immortal words of Pat Robertson. That's who said it. What a coincidence. In the immortal words of Pat Robinson, get the fuck out of here. $20,000 a month? I'm just saying, she's got a job. Maybe. Sort of. It's kind of a job. Anyway, she gives jobs. Didn't say that out loud. Okay, guys, that's it. I got to go. Thanks for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. Hit the like button before you do anything else. And share the damn stream. Just that last part alone was worth the price of admission. Wait a minute. You guys don't pay a price of admission. Well, thanks for all the people. Oh, no one sponsored it. Never mind. Hey, I'll be back tomorrow. And then probably won't be around next week, but the following week I should be back. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate your kind spirit and chattiness in the chat. You guys, thank you. Gotta go. My name is P-Dog Knight, and I am out of here. Goodbye. Have a great day. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.